like to call to order the Ramsey County Board of Commissioners. Roll call, please.
Jebin Singh.
Here.
McGuire is excused. McMurtry.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Moran.
Here.
Zhang.
Here.
And Ortega.
Could we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Land acknowledgement, Commissioner McMurtry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Every community owes its existence and vitality to generations from around the world who contributed their hopes, dreams, and energy to making the history that led to this moment. Some were brought here against their will, some were drawn to leave their distant homes in hope of a better life, and some have lived on this land since time immemorial. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. We are standing on the ancestral lands of the Dakota people. We want to acknowledge the Ojibwe, the Ho-Chunk, and the other nations of people who also call this place home. We pay respects to their elders, past and present. Please take a moment to consider the treaties made by the tribal nations that entitle non-native people to live and work on traditional native lands. Consider the many legacies of violence, displacement, migration, and settlement that brings us together here today. And please join us in uncovering such truths at any and all public events.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion on the agenda of December 2nd, 2025.
So moved. Second.
Seeing no discussion, roll call.
McMurtry.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Moran.
Aye.
Zhang.
Aye.
Jebin Singh.
Aye.
McGuire is excused. And Ortega.
Aye. I'll entertain a motion on the minutes of November 25th, 2025.
So moved. Second.
Seeing no discussion, roll call.
McMurtry.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Moran. Zhang.
Aye.
Jebin Singh.
Aye.
McGuire is excused. And Ortega.
Aye. Commissioner McMurtry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the following items. Number 3, gift acceptance for the 2025 Commissioner Travel expenses. Number 4, property tax abatements. Number 5, Ramsey County Economic Development Authority implementation. Number 6, agreement with...
Excuse me, number 5.
Number 6, agreement with Hennepin County for CEO Next Business Institute and CEO Now programming. Number 7, appointment to the Workforce Innovation Board of Ramsey County. Number 8, appointments to the Ramsey County Library Advisory Board. Number 9, memorandum of understanding and perpetual and temporary construction easements with the City of St. Paul for 402 University Avenue East Road improvements. Number 10, sale of vacant lot to Capital Real Estate, Inc. Number 11, right of entry agreement and amendment to existing permanent easement with XL Energy for Battle Creek Regional Park. Number 12, use of solid waste fund for 7 county-operated yard waste sites. Number 13, use of solid waste fund for capital equipment purchase. Number 14, Social Services Department Annual Authority for Procurement Requests.
I'd like to pull that item.
Number 15, Community Corrections Department Annual Authority for Procurement Requests.
That one as well.
Number 16, Financial Assistance Services Annual Authority for Procurement Requests.
16.
And number 17, 2025 Budget Adjustment for the Ramsey County Sheriff's Office.
Yeah, let's pull number 17. Mr. Chair, are we just able to discuss, the similar items, the procurement in one conversation?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, we'll have to vote them separately.
Can we get a second?
Yeah.
I'll do the second.
No further discussion. Let's take a vote on the ones we approved. Roll call.
McMurtry.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Moran.
Aye.
Zhang,
Aye.
Jabin Singh,
Aye.
McGuire is excused, and Ortega.
Aye. Okay, so now we go to number 5, Mine.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For number 5, I know we've talked about this at great lengths, but through many of our community reports and outside board reports, I just wanted to highlight this one because we are actually now able to establish a Ramsey County Economic Development Authority. Yeah, so let's give everyone a round of applause for that because we are probably the last county to even be able to do this. And this is crucially important and vital to having more tools in our toolbox to be able to support businesses and meeting our goals in our ECI plan around both supporting businesses, building intergenerational wealth, and supporting our current businesses here. So with that, I'd just like to have Director Olson just speak a little bit more about what this means and the timeline for full implementation.
Hi, Josh.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Yeah, this is an exciting moment. It is the first step, but by no means is the only step. We have a lot of steps here to go. But as it was kind of rolled out in your board packet today, this particular step is probably the most important because it actually acknowledges the work that we all took place at the legislature in getting that bill passed last session. So as part of that sequence, this board will need to take an action improving that action that the legislature gave us so that we can then tell the Secretary of State that we agree. That it's kind of a procedural piece, but it's an important one because if this does not happen before the legislature convenes next year, essentially that bill is null and void. So really a critical step. I want to just say, like, we've done all this work to get here, so this is one step. There will be a series, of next steps related to this board, establishing the members of who this EDA is, kind of shifting the information and the power back towards the HRA. That was our intent all along, just as part of what we've been doing as part of this bill. The creation of the Economic Development Authority is a critical piece because that is where business programming lies. It does not lie within our HRA. However, the bill, as was approved last year by the legislature, allows us to use HRA funding to use for business programming, similar to the programming that you all saw in your earlier board action around CEO Next and Now. So, yeah, I think this is the first step. We'll be amending, we'll need to be going through and amending other internal documents, including our administrative code. So this is by no means, like I said, the first step, but really an important one. We will be engaging our cities who have an important role and step in this EDA implementation. And so that really will begin, has begun internally in terms of conversations with our city partners and our staff at cities, but really will engage with our city councils who have to take an appropriate steps next year. So we'll begin that in earnest right after the first of the year.
Thank you, and congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Move it.
I'd like to move item number 5, Ramsey County Economic Development Authority implementation.
Second.
Hearing no further discussion, roll call.
McMurtry,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Moran, Zhang,
Aye.
Jabin Singh,
Aye.
McGuire is excused, and Ortega.
Aye. Mine, we have 14.
Let's see. 14. Do I have to move it first? Yeah. I'd like to move item number 14, Social Services Department Annual Authority for Procurement Requests.
Second.
Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Chair. Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to talk a little bit more about these 3 RBAs that are before you today. So these RBAs present an option for FAS, Financial Assistance Services, Social Services, and Community Corrections for an exception to our typical purchasing and contracting process. I just want to take a moment to talk a little bit about what we typically do for this process, and then talk about why we grant an exception or why we ask for an exception in these cases. So typically, the county awards competitive grants or contracts to partners from nonprofits to businesses throughout our community. And we do this through a competitive bid process or a solicitation, as we call them, that we issue an RFP or an RFQ, and people bid on that. As part of that, grantees must develop work plans meeting county business need. They have to agree to meet the program requirements that we lay out in those RFPs and comply with all of our applicable rules. It feels like Monday again. All right, so applicable rules and regulations. They develop a negotiated and approved budget, and they do all this work with my purchasing and contracting team. We also have fee-for-service contracts, which means that we award contracts to partners to provide specific services on a unit-based rate. Most of ours are contracts or grants that are reimbursable after the fact that we get invoiced for, but some are on a fee-for-service basis. As part of this, we issue this competitive solicitation, and people apply, and we award it based on, we go through all of those different applications and see how they score based on different points. In this particular case, we have historically granted exceptions for these 3 RBAs, which our team has worked in partnership with Health and Wellness to limit the exceptions in these. If you go back a few years, there were many more exceptions on this list than there are today. But they've come forward every December, and the justification is that there's a need to remain nimble in delivering critical time-sensitive care to vulnerable populations. And these are often places where we don't have a lot of choices, or there is one particular provider or a new provider comes in, and we have to provide services to these vulnerable populations really in a time-sensitive way that our purchasing and contracting competitive process doesn't allow for. But I also want to point out, even when we do this, these contractors have an agreement. We sign an agreement with them. They have to invoice us. We monitor these agreements. All of the typical monitoring that happens in other cases where it's competitively bid still apply. It's just that what I explained about the competitive bid process isn't followed in the same way. But the invoicing happens, the review of the budget, the review of the services being provided to the county, the monitoring by both the business area and my team of, are they meeting the requirements that the Ramsey County asked for and are providing what we need. And then there's also audits. Every year, our auditors from the state and also internally will pull 10, 20, 30 different contracts and say, hey, give me everything you have on this. I want to see the invoices. I want to see the justification. I want to see who signed off on it. I want to see if they met the need. And we do that every year. We're in the process of that right now with the Office of the State Auditor on our single audit. So we do try and limit these, but there are specific cases that the business area can speak to where this is really important. We'll continue to work with them to try and limit this, but it is something you typically will see every December. It's used sparingly. We got a list from social services. It's less than 10 times in the past year, but really important moments that are needed for the business area. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Deputy County Manager Kutza. This is really important for us to just understand the request for these 3 items. How much does it typically, what's the value or like the contracting value that goes out for this?
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, I'd have to get back to you on that. I don't know the value of those, but Dolly Lee, the division director over purchasing and contracting, can pull what we did in the past year, and I can get that back to you.
And I'm glad that this goes through like an auditing process too. Mm-hmm. Have there been any sort of findings around these at all?
I can't speak specifically to these. We do find things once in a while. Let's say someone says, oh, we bought this thing, and we say, we want to see this thing. And if we can't see the thing, then we'll go back and forth with them, and we have a great team. County Manager Becker has experienced that. Many directors in this room have experienced that we'll go back and forth. These are our partners, and we want to work with them to make sure. But if they haven't delivered what we need, we definitely will either withhold payment or deal with the contract situation, ending a contract. But it's pretty rare. People who do business with the county understand the layout of how you do business with the county. We try and lay it out really clearly. If they have questions, you can call my team at any time. You can email the team. I think it's Ask Procurement. I'll double check on the email, and they'll answer the question for you. We have sample invoices online. We do a lot to support our partners to make sure that they fulfill what we need as a county and what our residents need, because they really deliver really key services to our residents on behalf of Ramsey County.
Mm-hmm. And are these like year-to-year contracts, or are they multi-year contracts?
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, they could be either, but typically contracts go for up to 5 years. There may be a 1-year contract with 4 one-year renewals, or a 3-year contract with 2 one-year renewals. This particular one, I'd have to check on. They get the exception every year. That does not mean if there's a provider out there that could do this service that they wouldn't do a multi-year contract with them for services.
Okay, I'll make space for my colleagues to ask other questions.
Well, I think you've answered most of them, but one of the things that I just want to nuance a little bit, and I think you started to talk about it too, is that in our audit and compliance and then our finance department in our program checks, it sounds like it's a both and, where you want to hold our partners and the folks that we're contracting with accountable for the services that they're providing and the financial sides of the contract. But also because we are working in partnership with all sorts of different organizations that provide very specific kinds of care. If this may be a new time working with the county, this may be a new organization, they may be the best person to provide that care to community, but this contracting process or this reporting process might be their first time. You're working alongside them to make sure that they're in compliance, but that they have the assistance to learn how to do that, to put their own internal systems in place. So it's a both and. We want to bring people into our contracting processes who deliver the best services to community and bring them up to our compliance standards. Is that what I'm hearing in your conversation?
Yes, Mr. Chair and Commissioners, thank you for that. And what I would say is we absolutely want to do business with our community and have more people doing business with Ramsey County. And we want to help them do that. I want to give one example. So say we do a grant agreement with a new provider in the community. We would try and onboard them and say, hey, my team would meet with them and say, here's how you do a typical invoice. Here's how these pieces of the contract lay out, and this is what you're going to have to do. Then when they send that in, so let's say they provide services for a month and they send in their invoice, they need to justify each client's name, what they provided, the date they provided on, and all of that. That would go to the business area. The business area understands what they're providing, and if that meets the business need, that's laid out in the contract. Once they sign off on that and say, yep, this partner of ours provided this service within the confines of this contract and the agreement that we signed together, and the dollar amount is listed, they sign off on it, it gets sent to our team, and we look at it and say, okay, is the dollar amount correct? Is this what we said we were going to pay? Is this all within bounds? And then it's signed off on and paid by, it has to be approved. There's a little nuance there, but generally paid by finance. And then we do it all over again the next month. And then also throughout the year, we may pull that contract and say, hey, could we see your certificate of insurance? Could we look at how you're doing this work from a business standpoint? Maybe we go out and we do a desk audit and we say, does this all meet standard? And if it does, then great. And if it doesn't, then we'll go meet with them and try and figure out why or why not and take action as needed.
Chair, I just want to thank you for going through that in detail. I know that we're in a time when there's a lot of uncertainty and that people are very sensitive to the idea of how we're being good stewards to their tax dollars. And so thank you for walking us through what it means when we are sending dollars back out into community.
Commissioner McClatchy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just additional clarification. When it comes to these different contracting bids, and we're making the decision. Is it based on just lowest bid, or is there other criteria or qualifications that we're looking for before we accept any specific bid?
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, thank you for that question. Typically, it's not based on lowest bid. That is only in certain areas that we work with our county attorney partners. And it's typically in that property management, janitorial security, but we're also reviewing that right now. So I want to hold on that as we look into how we do those particular contracts. Everything else is based on points. So it's different points are assigned based on the business area's need. So they say, hey, if we have 100 points, we're going to give 30 of them to finance. And the other 70 go to things like, can you meet our need? Have you done it before in the community? Do you have a license? Do you already provide this service? And then a group of individuals, sometimes including community members, and often including the subject matter experts that do this work, score all of those, and then it's decided based on that. And so the financial piece or the actual dollar amount is typically a smaller part of that.
Great, thank you.
Mike?
Mr. Chair, thank you, DCM Kutza. I really appreciate, both the spirit of this and also some of the rationale behind this. I guess I have more questions, at least in terms of like to the individual or the specific pieces of the programs about how one finds or how our staff finds out about different organizations or programs and making a determination that there aren't many providers in the area.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, if I might ask Director Thompson to come up. Hers is the largest of these, and she has more information than I have.
Good morning, Chair, Commissioners, County Manager Becker, Sophia Thompson, Social Services Director. So I'll give one example. Oftentimes in social services, we will have a young person who is maybe at the hospital and we're not able to find placement, and they go through the placement committee, and the placement committee recommends a new placement that is maybe in the state of Minnesota or outside of the state. And in order for us to quickly move to get this young person to the right treatment that they need, we are able to use this authority to get the individual safe and the treatment started that they need immediately. We know that sometimes these places pop up, from honestly, in different states. We don't like that. The reality is that oftentimes in Minnesota, our children are not accepted by those facilities. We also will have new providers who pop up in the state of Minnesota who maybe want to provide respite care. So this is where we use the authority most of the time. And when that happens, we do go out of state. We do monitor those entities that are not in the state or that are in the state. So we still follow all those guidelines of making sure that the young people are safe. We also send staff to see those young people within the expected timeframes. I don't know if I think it's yearly, monthly. We send staff to go see the youth as well when that happens. But that is one example of how we use this authority, at least in the last year.
And back to my one of my questions is how much are the contracts typically?
So with that example, I wouldn't be able to speak to exactly how much that contract would be. I would have to get back to you on that. I'd have to check with our procurement team on what that looks like.
Okay, and then the other question I have around just in general, like the process here too, is I'm just unsure and uncomfortable about like just understanding what the full amount is in the contracting and procurement space here. So my recommendation, at least at this point, is just to get those back to us. And that I would ask that we lay this over until next week, at least, until we get some clarity around that, because I'm just trying to decipher about like the amounts, how much or and how often do we actually do this. And also if, similar to what we did with our food shelves, where we have like $0 contracts, And then when we need to ramp up or partner, then we do that. Like if that may be a better process versus just doing this, where we are essentially making decisions just to partner with one agency over another.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioner. To your second question, we do both, right? We try and provide some, cooperative agreements and opportunities where there are a number of providers, like Director Thompson has a number of providers accessible for certain services. There are moments where that has not worked for us typically, like her example of a child in a hospital and we don't have anyone in that space and we have to find someone. But you are right, we continue to strive to create more of those and less exceptions to this rule. It's just we haven't gotten all the way there yet. And to be totally honest, I'm not sure we will, because there are just needs we cannot anticipate in that way, that we need some authority to be able to just, our authority only goes up to $10,000. Anything over $10,000, Director Thompson can't do without this exception. And even though we'll get back to you, I think it's really important. I'm sorry I don't have it today, but we'll get back to you with the number of contracts and the dollar amounts over the past year. But they're pretty minimal, few exceptions, but they are really important when those come up for those specific situations.
Okay. May I get a second for that motion to just lay it over for one more week?
Can I have some questions first?
Oh, okay.
Commissioner
So
Moran?
I think I heard you say, so this is up to like $10,000 for an exception? It's not-
Over $10,000.
Over $10,000. So one of the things that I hear constantly back in the community with individuals is that, for example, I had a person who was in the, went to rehab, the hospital did went to rehab, and was there for like 6 months because there was just some difficulties in moving them from place to place, or trying to find a provider and the support that they needed, I guess. And so I'm thinking, and my question would be, would this process or procedures help to make what Ramsey County do as a government more efficient, more effective? Would it move things along in a more timely manner? Or the purpose, of this is to what?
So,
Again.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Moran, that's a really good question. There's a tension here, right? And I think you're bringing it up. There is a need, as Commissioner Jevonsing and Commissioner Zhang pointed out earlier, for competitive process. We don't always know. Director Thompson, Director Ali, we don't always know who's out in our community who can provide these services. So when we issue a solicitation, we try and issue it far and wide and say, come do business with Ramsey County. We want you to do business with Ramsey County. We want to partner with you. And there are times where we have to be more nimble and time sensitive than that process allows, which then leads to sometimes picking a provider that can provide a very specific service immediately for a residential need that we have to do right then. So both things are true. That makes that moment more efficient. That makes Director Thompson able to serve that child in that moment. And typically we wouldn't do that because, as my county attorney partners would tell you, we want to follow this competitive process so that we get the best value for Ramsey County taxpayers and also do business with a wide range of providers throughout so that they can do business with Ramsey County and benefit from that. When we think about intergenerational wealth building, when we think about our community, that's part of the way Ramsey County does that. We spend $300 million on contracts. We want that money coming back into our community as well in a competitive way. Does that help answer your question?
Let me just interject on it. And I think it's good that we're questioning the procedures. But in general, Ramsey County, we deliver our services through a mix of nonprofits, community agencies, and the county. It makes it more cost effective, number one. Number two, we couldn't possibly obtain all the skills we need as a county. We depend on our community partners. I'll give you some examples. When I first came here, all literature, all by the county, pertaining to services were only in one language, English. For 4 years, I tried to include Hispanic, Spanish. Unsuccessful for almost a decade, okay? And that's for the county. Our contracts, having come from the other side, I delivered mental health services, chemical dependency services, I could keep on going, child protection services, because of language barriers and the expertise. That's the way how we complement each other. And I understand that in the community, there's a lot of questions. We shouldn't just react to what's happening maybe at a state level or any other. We've done a pretty good job while we've been here. Another example is, and most people in the community could probably relate to this, is all of our community clinics, health clinics, that most of our people go to, they don't go to the hospitals, are funded by Ramsey County. And so that's another vehicle by which we make sure that health services are provided in the community, right? So we are partners. We're not the only funder of these communities, but we're a stable funder of these health clinics. So that's another example. I could keep on going in corrections, etc. So I just want to keep that in mind because it is the way we do business. It's a good way of doing businesses. It broadens our skill set in terms of a county, and it has worked. And I've been here been here 3 decades, and haven't had any issues in terms of some of the issues that are facing some other government entities.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Alex, and Sophia for sharing today. I would just say that I really appreciate what you just said, Chair Ortega, about the way we deliver services. I think the flip side to that is that there's a lot of responsibility and expectations on our staff, both in our procurement staff and on our program side, to be able to do that with a lot of thought and care and diligence. And I've seen that firsthand, and I've seen that muscle really strengthen over the last 5 years here in this organization. I know there's some people have worked with me in the past that know this example, but I mean, this is a very tangible example that I think will show you how deep we look and how we're checking on things. Sometimes we'll get an invoice where somebody billed for something on a holiday, and we had a question, and like procurement said, well, how did this organization work for you on the 4th of July? We had a conversation, we talked to the organization. They were doing outreach on the 4th of July because that was the day that their community was gathering together. And so, no, our procurement wasn't just gonna pay it without, or the people approving invoices, but we had a conversation and we discussed as programs and the compliance team. And so that's the kind of working together that we have to do so that organizations can deliver for us, because we actually do need to do that work on days not when the county's open, for example. So I hope that kind of maybe sums it up of the partnership that we need. It's a muscle that I've seen procurement really grow in our programs, but it continues to be an area we have to, you can't be stagnant in it either. You have to keep improving our systems, and this is why I'm excited for 2026 of our operational excellence work. This is all a part of that, and so thank you for having this conversation today, and we'll be happy to bring back the information you've requested, Commissioner Zhang, before you guys look at these items again next week.
Mr. Chair, I made a motion. I'd
I'll
like a
second.
second, please.
Okay?
To lay over items number 14, 15, and 16 to our next
Hold on, I don't know.
meeting, December 16th,
I don't know that we
2025.
can take them together.
cannot.
We cannot take
Okay.
them
You
have to do
together.
one at a
Just
time.
Okay.
do the
item of
one we
business
just
on
had
the
a
table
discussion
at
of.
once.
Okay, great, thank you. I'd like to move item number 14, Social Services Department Annual Authority for Procurement.
You wanna-
Layover.
Layover.
I'd like to lay over number 14,
You laying over number 14, and they're gonna come back, and what are you requesting?
December 16th.
And you're requesting what again?
Oh, like the total amounts.
A total of...
Dollar figures.
Yeah,
More details.
Okay.
and then Commissioner
Any
Miller.
further discussion?
I just want to say that I think it's important that we are flexible with our community members. There's no, I don't think as a county, as a county Becker talked about, on a July 4th, because the county is closed, that means community is closed. They're not. They're doing the work, right? And, I definitely believe we should have a strong procurement process, good, strong relationship with the community and the trust, because trust goes both ways. And so, for me, we want to delay, but I'm like a vote. In fact, the flexibility is important that we have it and allow it to happen. So,
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I would just say that I'm just asking to lay it over. I'm not asking to vote against this. I'm just asking for more information about this. I know that Deputy County Manager Kutza already mentioned that they're upwards, like the contracts are like 10,000, and more than that, they would have to come to the board, which I appreciate. I appreciate the spirit of this. However, I just also want to know about like the scale of this too. And that's an important conversation to have. And some of the points that are made in here, there are several providers that I can count more than from, five from my hands. So that's why I'm asking just to understand more about the amount of this too.
I think we need to have just a little more clarity.
Oh,
yeah.
we're going to take a vote.
Let's get some clarity. Can, Mr. Chair? No?
What do you, go ahead, Alex.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, Commissioner, I just want to clarify that up to $10,000, any director in this room has the authority to do business with them. So each of these would be over $10,000, and I will come back with the dollar amount, the length of the contract, and the number of contracts for the past year.
Thank you for clarifying that. Okay, yeah.
Go ahead.
So you made the motion to table this or lay it over?
Yes.
Then you can discuss that motion, then you vote on the motion, and then we'll have to do it for the next and the next.
Got it.
If everyone's gonna agree to do what Commissioner
So
Zhang is saying.
if we lay over, we don't have to go back to the original motion?
No, she made a motion to lay it
Okay.
over. If you guys all
The
agree to
motion
do
is
that.
lay over till the 16th.
And I second that motion.
Yeah, and you seconded. Roll call.
McMurtry,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Moran, Zhang,
Aye.
Jabin Singh,
Aye.
McGuire is excused, and Ortega.
Aye. Okay, let's go on to number 16.
Mr. Chair, similar to the, for number 15, similar to that, I'd like to lay over this item, number 15, Community Corrections Department Annual Authority for Procurement Requests to December 16th.
To get the same type of information?
Yes. Yep. May I get a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Roll call.
McMurtry,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Moran, Zhang,
Aye.
Jabin Singh,
Aye.
McGuire is excused, and Ortega.
Aye. Item number 17.
I'd like to move, I believe it's 16. I just want to make sure I'm not off. Okay. I'd like to move lay over item number 16, the Financial Assistance Services Annual Authority for Procurement Requests to
I'm sorry.
to December 16th.
Second.
Same request to get financial information.
Yep.
Any discussion? Okay. Roll call.
McMurtry,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Moran, Zhang,
Aye.
Jabin Singh,
Aye.
McGuire is excused, and Ortega.
Aye. Item number 17. Who?
Yes. So I would love to ask someone from the Sheriff's Department to maybe address this request for additional funds.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
I think most of you received the letter that I sent that outlined why the request is there. Predominantly, that's 2.6 million in overtime to run a safe jail that's consistent with the DOC guidelines. I think you also got a copy of our inspection report yesterday, which we passed with really good grades, 94 and 99, which is exciting because, you know, we had a history of some complications there. And this means that we'll only have an inspection every 2 years because of the high marks we received. But in order to get those marks and to provide that safe environment for persons and staff, we need to staff it properly. And so we've said previously, we hope the staffing study will agree with us that the staffing study that we're being conducted now, that many of the viewers may not be aware of, that we believe we need 18 additional staff, which provides, with today's equation of 24-hour staffing, it takes 6 bodies to provide 1 body on a 24-hour basis. So that would provide 3 extra bodies on a 24-hour basis, which we think would meet the guidelines. That would also then significantly cut the overtime that we're spending. So there'll be a trade-off of, we believe 18 new bodies will result really in the 2.6 not, you know, really being there. So that's part of the request. The other big factor is the vacancy factor, and the vacancy factor is a long-standing controversy. For those listening, every department has historically been cut by between 2.5% to 4%. It's been at 4% recently, in anticipation of having vacancies in your department that would not require funding. Now, that's changed over many years. We had arguments in the past. Sometimes it's covered. The county manager has graciously agreed to not have the vacancy factor for us next year. That's 1.3 million. And so, and just to understand the difference, when we have vacancies in the jail or other places, the court system, we can't just not operate with additional staff protecting our judges. We have to fill those with overtime. So the 2.6 for the jail and the 1.3 million for the vacancy factor really is the 3.9 figure that's in front of you today. Those are the 2 primary drivers of where we're at. But the good news is we do have a staffing study that's scheduled to be completed in the spring or February, March, and I'm sure the county manager will, you know, bring that back to have discussion here, whether overtime is the best way to deliver the service or increased staffing. But I think we all agree that we want to make sure we have a safe jail that doesn't bring liability to us, but even more than the liability, doesn't bring danger to any staff or clients that are in our jail. So, and we believe that additional bodies. Now, having said that, you're all aware that there's a new state law regarding family leave. I'm sure our staffing study will look at that, but January 1st, staff will be entitled to 20 weeks of family leave. And that could significantly impact us. It's already impacting us now with the standards that the county has. Then with the new state standards, we're guessing we'll be shorter on staff as a result of that. So,
Commissioner Singh?
Sheriff Lesher, thank you so much. This is exactly why I wanted to give you the opportunity to explain that. As you know, we are in the middle of a budget cycle, and every percentage of tax levy is something being scrutinized and that we are really looking at of trying to make sure that we're resourcing the county appropriately while saving the burden of the tax levy on our property owners. The 3.9 million is approximately equivalent to 1% of our current tax levy. So it's a big chunk of change. So I didn't want us just to pass this through without giving the opportunity for you to give the explanation that you just did. I know that I've often said that the biggest conundrum is that public safety is one of the #1 priorities of the constituents that I see, but also is balancing our tax levy. So wanting to make sure that you had the chance to explain why these investments need to be made. One question that I have is that is because of the fact that so many of the contract cities are in my area, is any of this overtime or vacancy factor, any of these costs associated with those contracts, will they be getting a December bill for overages, or how is that handled? Is that a separate?
It's a separate account. They've already received their number. And about, Kyle, when did you give it to them? 6 weeks ago? Or about 6 weeks ago, they received their number in overtime. And, nobody loves getting a number. But having said that, in past years, they've usually gotten money back. What it amounts to this year is they won't. But on your first point, just to be fair, I'm not sure that this is 1% of the major budget. It could be, but this request today has no levy impact. The money is coming from a contingency account that was already budgeted, 1.5 million from contingency, the remainder from levy fund balance that does not impact the future budget here. So just so we're clear, this is coming from fund balance and contingency. It's not going on the budget for next year.
So and this is me asking
Yeah,
for
it's a good
folks at
question.
home and for my own self, as this is my first time through the budget cycle. Where did those dollars originally come from, and where would they come from in the future? Because we're accountable for all of them, regardless of how they come into our home here.
Well, there's probably 10 arguments there. I see Alex coming up quickly, but first I'm going to have Kyle. If Alex is going to come up there, I'm going to ask her to give the fund balances as they exist today. But Kyle, why don't you talk a little bit about the fund balance?
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioner. The RBA is structured to pull $1.5 million from general contingency funds. The county budgets $2 million generally annually for unanticipated expenses, as opposed to building it into the elected offices or the department budgets. And then $2.4 million, as the sheriff said, will come from unallocated general fund balance.
How much is in that account, do we know as of this moment? What's your guess? What has previously been in there?
500-600 million.
No, guess. Kyle, give the guess.
600 million?
600 million.
I know there's a reserve process the county has, so many reserves.
But I think the numbers are public, that there's a lot of money in those fund balances. Alex, I might have the exact number.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, since I'm still currently the Chief Financial Officer, I actually do know the fund balance for the unrestricted fund balance for Ramsey County as of the end of 2024, unaudited, so this could change slightly because we're in the middle of the audit, is $250,298,320. Your policy is that we have at least 2 months of expenditures. This is closer to 4 months, so it is above the policy. I recommend that you don't go to the 2 months, that we stay closer to 3 or above. So it's not just funds that you can use for anything else. The rating agencies, different places look for fund balance. But as a percentage of fund balance, this is a small amount.
Okay,
On this question, but what was the origin, where did those dollars come from before they were in? So this is the checking account versus the savings account. It's still our money. So
Yes.
where did it come from?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Jevons Singh, it will come from tax levy over many, many years and time.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Miller?
Thank you for that explanation, Sheriff, Alex, and Kyle. I just want to add that I understand the staffing needs, I understand the overtime, but I don't want to continue to be in a habit of pulling from the reserves to cover this. And I'm hoping that with the staffing study, with the additional staff, that we can get this figured out so we're not continuously with overtime. Like you said, though, like we need staff. It's a 24-hour operation, so I understand that, but let's just not continue to be in a habit of just pulling from reserves.
We agree. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I really appreciate the conversation here. Just in regards to that, the savings that we have is that, our commissioners before all of us here, made very sound, financial policy, goals that resulted in, AAA like bond ratings, and that gives us the ability to borrow less, right, for capital projects. So one, I want to name that. Two, I just also want to name that, I look forward to the partnership in both looking at the study, but also the overall budgetary needs. It's essentially crucial that our jails are adequately funded and staffed so that, one, there isn't staff burnout, but two, there's safety for our residents, and that's most important. The residents who fall into our care, we are responsible for it. And if we aren't accurately staffed and we aren't following policy and procedures, that is where we will see like even larger settlements or claims that we have seen this year already, and we have seen far too many, in my opinion. So I appreciate this conversation. I look forward to the deeper continued partnership, and also I believe it's Undersheriff or
Yep.
Undersheriff, right? Congratulations on such a great inspections and resulting in less inspections over time. So thank you.
Just to comment on your comment, the staffing also impacts the environment, not just the safety, but they can be out more when we have additional staff that can be in the facility out of their individual cells. And Under Sheriff Bryant has, why don't you come on up, Ashley, and tell him she's been doing some creative work, as you know, but all inmates now have received iPads and are working to better their lives through some external input.
Absolutely. As of 2 weeks ago, each person in custody was issued a tablet, and that tablet has the programming, educational, and entertainment on it. It also has basically a learn to play kind of component to it, where they do the educational programming or the vocational programming or religious programming, and they get extra time for premium content. And so it's incentivized programming. They are taking to it very well. We're still working out the kinks of process and things like that. Also on those tablets, they have telephone ability, and as well as video remote visiting. They get 2 free phone calls a day and 1 free video visit a day, and they can all access that on their tablets, as well as we have the kiosks available as well if they prefer those.
Yeah, I was excited. I was in the jail 2 weeks ago when they were getting distributed, and all the inmates came up, "Where's the iPads? Where's the iPads?" So it's really sort of a revolutionary way of looking at detention, and I thank Under Sheriff Ashley Bryant for doing that, and I'm sure you guys agree.
Lee?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Sheriff Fletcher, and your team for being here. I wanted to just make a couple of comments. I look forward to a better partnership as we continue working in the future, as we have been building on over this first year, I think. Certainly the staffing study under Deputy County Manager Reyes and the work with your team will make a big difference in helping us reset the staffing needs of the jail. Lots of things are true in the conversations we've had here today. At the same time, I do want to make a couple of clarity points. Commissioner Zhang is absolutely right about the fiscal health of this organization as a result of past really good financial decisions of our policymakers. That is not something we should hold lightly. That contingency account is something that's organizational wide. It is really important as we move into the next few years, as we think about the outlook of what is happening in our community, that we do not take that lightly in terms of the use of that contingency account. It is something that the taxpayers have paid into for us to be able to take care of the needs of our community in these difficult situations as we see ourselves over the next 10 years. And we can't burn through that at a pace that isn't, safe, I guess, for the health and well-being of our community. In addition, for the rest of the organization, I do want to clarify around the vacancy factor, because it is a strong budget mechanism that we employ on all other departments except for the elected offices in the next budget. Vacancy and turnover is a very typical way to account for savings due to natural turnover in our organization. When some leave our workforce, there's always a time when the positions are vacant, and we are never at 100% staffed. And so, we do assume that departments be able to hold a 4% or so vacancy factor. The state actually uses a 5% number. So I just don't want to I appreciate that we're working on trying to help you manage the situation by removing your vacancy factor in the next 2 years. However, for the rest of the organization, you know, that has been the expectation, and it is something because it's a best practice, really, when it comes to budget management. So just want to be able to clarify that for the other 27 departments that are being held to that as to why we are, you know, continuing to budget toward that for our organization. If we didn't have the vacancy factor, we'd either have to do significant more cuts in our budget, or we would have had to raise our property tax levy significantly higher. And so I just want to make sure I said that out loud as well.
Commissioner McMurtry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Sheriff, for the presentation. And I want to speak a little bit more about the partnership piece and some of the things that have happened over this last year in particular. I know it was mentioned that there was actions taken for, you know, frequent meetings between your office, the Office of Safety and Justice and Finance, to continue to review and monitor your budget, and hopefully out of that come with a better understanding of different spending trends, and I think the ultimate goal was to prevent, you know, the overtime from happening. And yet it did. And so I want to give you a chance to kind of speak to where some of the discrepancies were, of why, despite those meetings, there was still a challenge and you all still went over the budget. Because, and I ask this because I want to ensure that even after the recommendations from the staffing study comes, that we don't end up back in the situation. So if you can speak a little bit to, you know, despite the efforts that have been taken this year to try to rein in a bit on some of the challenges with your budget, why you were still, you know, going over the amount.
Well, when you say some of the challenges, I don't know if, are you referring to County Manager O'Connor's auditor that was hired to make suggestions, or I'm not exactly?
So in the documents that was sent to us, it was mentioned that I believe this year there were meetings convened with your office of Safety and Justice, and the Finance Committee, just as a chance to get a better understanding of your budget, any challenges that you're facing. And I guess my question is, despite those, maybe they were monthly meetings, I'm not sure how frequently you all met, despite having those meetings and the monitoring, you still went over
and
budget.
I never anticipated that we wouldn't be.
Okay.
Just to be clear, the auditor that was hired never really provided any substantive changes. We had our spending that was monitored daily. Our line items never went over. We never hired more FTEs than we were allotted to, as referenced in that letter. So really, it's a question of, do you want to run a jail short-staffed and jeopardize individuals that are in the facility, or do you want to make sure, I just told Ashley, make sure everybody's safe. Do what you have to make it safe. And you know, there's a lot of people that are already taking family leave, sick time. We have a number of employees that just don't show up for work for a variety of reasons. That's tough on us. You know, that means we got to get on the phone, call, and bring people in on overtime. So I never anticipated that we would make our budget knowing the overtime needs, knowing the family leave, the sick time already allowed to employees. I always knew we would be here, having this moment and deciding what type of facility we want to run. So I don't think we'll be back here if the staffing study recommends some additional staff. Clearly, that's our goal. We recommended in January to a letter to Assistant County Manager Reyes that we add 18 bodies. That was our number. We still believe that's the key number to reduce our overtime. And so the vacancy factor, I disagree with Ling, County Manager Becker, on whether our department needs it more than other departments. We have a 24-hour operation. Most of our employees are in critical positions that we cannot have an empty desk. We don't have desk operators. We have people in the jail, we have people in the courts, we have people patrolling the streets. We have people at the hospital. We have people transporting prisoners. We do more activities than any law enforcement agency in Minnesota. more than Hennepin, more than Minneapolis, more than St. Paul. But they're activities that require somebody be there. So, I mean, we can have a longer discussion on vacancy if we need to, but I think I want to thank Ling for recognizing some of the differences that we have. I know that other departments have needs as well, but ours is unique in that we have a 24-hour operation that needs to be staffed. So I don't think that really answers your question. I'm going to bring up the smartest man we got, Kyle, to talk about that. You want to try to take another shot at that?
Well, before we go on, this has been a very good discussion. And again, looking at procedures and processes, and we're talking about the past, what has already taken place. What I really want to do is build a partnership with the Sheriff's Department. You need to be at the table, Sheriff, when it's not just a staffing, there's no magic in that staffing study, okay? We'll get the data, we'll get the information, but it's gonna take the board and you to sit down and using that information and figuring out how to, and I call it a baseline, you tell me if there's a better word. Let's set a baseline where we then could start measuring. You say 18 people, will 19 make a difference? Or the 17 do the same? I don't know, but we can measure now anything. And as we move forward, I'd rather that you be at the table, not just to talk about 18 extra folks, but how do we how do we work together to make that operation so we can take it off both our desk and move on to some other issues that are just as important, if not more.
Agreed.
Just, I just want to piggyback off of that and just to say, I wanted to bring this conversation today for this very reason, which is to look forward to the future. The idea that a lot of ground has happened in the last year, new faces, new opportunities for collaboration, a lot of work going forward, and the idea that we all want to make sure that we're resourcing public safety and resourcing the Sheriff's Department at a responsible level, and that when we do, to make sure we're not penny wise and pound foolish, that we're making the sound investments to keep our community safe, the folks who are housed at the ADC, and also the folks that are working there, that everybody has what they need. But also that once those investments are made, that we manage those investments wisely, because all of this is, something that we're charged to do, all of us here, to do and to do together. So thank you for being so open and answering our questions. As you know, from the last conversation on procurement, everybody has to answer these questions so that we can go into community and know that we've done our job to be good stewards of these resources. So thank you for that.
Madam Chair, Mr. Chair and Commissioner, thank you for your comments. I've never taken any of them as adversarial. I've always felt this board has been great partners in trying to get the right conclusion at the end, and I thank you for that. It's tough decisions. I don't mind answering tough questions. The public deserves to hear the answers. And rest assured that I do, and we do, want to partner with you at every step of the way. And on my way out, let me say I won't have a microphone in 5 minutes, but Joanna Berg, congratulations on an amazing career. 40 plus years. Thank you for your service. I know you're next. We're like the lead up band to the proclamation. So there we go. You're good?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did I have a motion in a second?
So I'd like to move, I have to make sure I have the wording in front of me. I would like to move item number 19. I need to get that language in front of me.
Okay.
Second.
17.
Yeah, sorry. Number 17.
Hearing no further discussion, roll call.
McMurtry,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Moran, Zhang,
Aye.
Jebin Singh,
Aye.
McGuire is excused, and Ortega.
Aye. Proclamation, I got Commissioner Miller.
We have more people joining us. Come on.
They're shy.
Everyone's shy. You gotta say a few words too, Jean. All right. Well, it is my privilege to present this proclamation. So as a proud public servant with over 40 years in her career, Joanna has brought invaluable experience from Hennepin County and the Minnesota Department of Human Services before joining the Ramsey County. Joanna began her tenure at Ramsey County in 2011, where she was hired as the county's first Chief Information Officer. In 2015, Joanna became Deputy County Manager of Information and Public Records. In 2018, Joanna led the Economic Growth and Community Investment Service Team as Deputy County Manager. On February 1st, 2024, Joanna graciously stepped up as the Interim County Manager while the Ramsey County Board of Commissioners searched for and selected the long-term county manager replacement. On September 1st, 2024, Joanna became the Deputy County Manager of Organizational Alignment. Joanna has been instrumental to strengthening the organization by better aligning Ramsey County's organizational structure to serve in the evolving and diverse needs of residents, families, and businesses and employees. Joanna's contributions during her tenure have made a difference. Her leadership skills, in combination with collaborating with others, have ensured the necessary groundwork is in place to achieve Ramsey County's vision, mission, and goals and strategic plan as one Ramsey County. I'm going to give you this, and then I will read the proclamation. So, whereas Deputy County Manager Joanna Berg has worked in public service for over 40 years and with Ramsey County for the last 14 years, beginning as the county's first Chief Information CIO and ending as Deputy County Manager. And whereas Joanna led Information Services as the CIO to focus on core services and technologies, built out a service management strategy, improved asset and vendor management, developed and strengthened enterprise IT governance, and enhanced the department's customer service orientation through increased transparency and communication. And whereas Joanna moved Ramsey County forward on an IT maturity continuum by establishing new countywide roles and functions, including Chief Technology Officer, Chief Information Security Officer, IT Project Management, an application portfolio, and the Open Data Portal. And whereas Joanna has led countless strategic initiatives to advance county goals and to provide more efficient and effective services to internal customers and to county residents, she co-led the county's incident management team, ensuring essential county services were effectively delivered through the worldwide COVID-19 pandemic and civil unrest, demonstrating unwavering commitment, creativity, and calm through periods of great uncertainty. And whereas Joanna has consistently exemplified Ramsey County's vision, mission, goals, and core values, and has upheld the highest ethical standards of her role. And whereas Joanna worked with integrity, professionalism, dedication, and fostered a strong and supportive culture at all levels throughout the county, Ramsey County thanks her for the time she spent helping others develop in the workplace by selflessly sharing her advice and being a sounding board to help colleagues build their skills and confidence and to advance their Ramsey County careers. And whereas Joanna has accepted a new role as former Deputy County Manager, retired, where she will now pursue traveling and fulfilling Barney's, Joanna's dog's, dream to take him for a walk whenever he demands it. And now therefore be it. Proclaimed, the Ramsey County Board of Commissioners declares December 2nd, 2025 as Joanna Berg's Day in Ramsey County. And be it further proclaimed, the Ramsey County Board of Commissioners thanks Joanna Berg on behalf of all constituents for your leadership, service, and dedication to foster truly a county of excellence where all are valued and can thrive. Thank you.
Commissioners, thank you. It's been my pleasure to spend some time in Ramsey County, and I want to start by thanking each of you and your predecessors in office. The tone that this board sets, the professionalism of this board has been a constant in my time here, and it is so important. And I really want to appreciate the respect that you show to county staff, both in their roles as professional staff and as individuals. It is absolutely instrumental to our success, and I can tell you from personal experience, it's tremendously important in our ability to both attract and retain leaders. My thanks also to County Managers Kleinschmidt, O'Connor, and Becker. I have learned from each of them. I want to recognize County Manager Becker in particular is the first, I guess the only person in my career who I hired as a direct report of mine, and to whom later I became a direct report of hers. And for me, that is as joyful a capstone as I could have. I care about creating environments where other people are successful. There are so many things today that we cannot control, but how we work, we can control. And when we come to work and we work hard and ethically and intelligently and collaboratively, there is no limit to what we can do. And I have had many examples of that in my time at the county, most recently in organizational alignment. But I do want to give a particular shout out to the best team that I worked with in my time at the county, which is the EGCI team I led before I became the county manager. This was a group of scary, smart people who came and worked so hard, and we did it in an environment where we were supportive of one another, where we celebrated each other's successes, where we helped each other when things were difficult. And we accomplished a tremendous amount of work in a really tough time. And that was a credit to the people here and people who are no longer with the county, who were part of that team or have moved on to other things. And it is the quality of the people with which we work that makes public service such a joy for me. So I thank you all.
Marisol?
Deputy County Manager, congratulations. This recognition is so well earned, and you should definitely enjoy the time. In addition to that, I really do want to say, with your comment about County Manager Becker and also all the leaders behind you, is that I think that's a true testament to your leadership. In being a leader, but also investing in leaders and making them go even farther than you can even have imagined. I think that is the epitome of what a leader is making sure that folks who are supporting you actually go farther than you, and that is such a great vision for the county and for all of us here in investing the people that we are with every single day. So congratulations.
Thank you, Commissioner.
You should be so proud.
Commissioner Moran.
So, Deputy County Manager, thank you and congratulations. When I look at your work and your leadership in making over 40 plus years, what an awesome giving of yourself to the well-being of the residents here in Ramsey County, the staff within Ramsey County. I think a great leader has been able to see the potential in others, to take risk, and to make decisions that not everyone is going to appreciate or agree with. And I have seen you do all of that. And so your leadership and your insight that you have brought to Ramsey County is going to be missed. But I want to say, congratulations. Thank you for your service. Go rest and have a great time. Let us know where the after party is so we can come and celebrate with you. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah, Joanna, this is just a bittersweet moment for many of us. Happy for you, but extremely sad for those of us who rely so much on your counsel on a regular basis. And truly, I just want to speak a moment about the gift of mentoring that you have. It's not just a skill, but it truly is who you are, your empathy, your patience, the way you walk with people to create a space for them to be their best self in their work and to feel supported and encouraged. I've seen it in all my colleagues that you've had, you've worked with. A moment that I wanted to reflect on is when you hired me, one thing that you said to me was, the county is where you come to if you want to get things done. And that just made me really excited to be here. And not only did you help make that happen, but you did it every day. Like, there was no idea, no problem, no thing we wanted to work on or solve that was too small or too big. You were just always like, what is it that you think you can do, and how can I help you do it? And so I saw you do that time and time again for me and for others. And weekends, nights, you've always been available, never hesitated, having a conversation. And I just want to thank you so much for that. You have a really rare ability to cut through all the noise and to just kind of get to what matters. A lot of times it's just so much stuff coming at us, and then you can just get to the heart of, like, well, let's just get to, the thing that can get you to the next moment. And it's just, and when things feel so overwhelming, you can make them feel very simple. And I feel like the job of the county manager is a very lonely job, and having you here this first year just gave me a sense of not being so alone at times. And I really want to thank you for that. And I think the organization is better for it because of that. So I will miss you immensely, and just so grateful for everything you've done for me, but also for this organization and our community. So,
Joanna, I've been, since you've been here, it's been 14 years. And I just got, I was writing down everything that's been said, I could repeat and echo, but I'm saying, what's different? And I wrote down two things: a steady hand. You've always had a steady hand. All the issues over the last 14 years and what we've asked of you, you've done it with such a high level of comfort, and your interpersonal relationships with folks, it's just out of this world. And you've been the go-to person. Those are the two things. Whenever we have had transitions of one kind or the other, you were always our champion, the lead person. So I just want to say thank you. I've really enjoyed working with you all these years. And again, it's always been comfortable sitting down with you and trying to figure out how to solve problems. So enjoy your retirement, and God bless.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Take pictures.
Anyone else want to go up?
yeah, I'm going to get one.
Did anyone else want to go up?
Go a little bit more.
All right, we'll take 3 pictures, come down from 3, 3, 2, 1. Last one.
Thank you.
Okay, we have county connections.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. I have just a couple of quick things. I wanted to just acknowledge our Racial Health Equity Administrator, William Moore. He recently received a Shaking Things Up Award from the annual Black and Brown Summit for his work as a male doula, helping deliver babies, and for his role in public speaking in the community. The summit was a 3-day event hosted by Wilder in September and co-sponsored by Ramsey County Public Health and Regions Hospital. There were many other people that were honored that are very significant, so this was quite a recognition for William. In addition, there was a group award for folks that actually represent the county as well. The Centering Fathers Work Group, led by Thomas Chapman, also with Ramsey County, Charles Dixon, who used to be a county employee but now works for DCYF, and William Moore, for creating a platform for men that increases spaces for men and centering fathers and leading, is really supporting a lot of our community members as well. So congratulations to William for this great award. I just want to acknowledge that there's a lot of other very significant people that won an award, so I'll just call them out. Mr. Sam Simmons, many of you are familiar with as a community leader, has led a lot of trauma-informed work in our Black community. Clarence Jones of the Human Partnership. Phil McGraw, who actually is the creator of VFest, promoting healthy eating in the Black community, and then Dr. Nathan Chamillo, who is the Medicaid medical director and a general pediatrician who focuses on Black maternal health as well. And then lastly, I just want to do a little call out. I think Commissioner Ortega will be there, but the European market is happening. I stopped over there over the weekend. I will highly recommend the caramel churros that you can get there. But it's a wonderful event. There were so many people enjoying our Union Depot space. I know the tree lighting's happening on Saturday night at 7 p.m. and usually Commissioner Ortega gets to hit the switch, so he's pretty excited about that. So it goes on every Friday. It goes up through December 21st on the weekends. Fridays from 3 to 9, Saturdays from 11 to 9, and Sundays from 11 to 6. Right.
Okay. Let's move on to outside board and committee reports. Let's try to make them as concise as possible. Let's start with you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will just say this past weekend was the 45th annual Hmong American New Year at the River Center, where thousands and thousands of people came, and St. Paul had a good problem. There was a shortage of parking. So I just add that piece because I heard people complaining about how much it costed to park. And I will say we will never solve our parking problems by trying to just solve for cars. We need to solve for people. And having a lot of people in the area is a great thing. And that's why we support multiple transit options. Thank you.
All right.
Commissioner Singh?
Last night, the Joint Development Authority for the Rice Creek Commons met again. We had a very productive workshop revisiting some of the ongoing issues as we want to make sure that we are affirming where our current JDA board sits on some ongoing issues as we draft our next solicitation for either a lead developer or multiple developers. We're developing our strategy on that. So that work continues. And then I just want to highlight some upcoming events in the district. On Friday, the 5th, on December 5th, the Mounds View tree lightings from 4 to 6 at Mounds View City Hall. And then you can hop over to Venice Heights Commons for the Venice Heights PJs with Santa from 6 to 8. And then also on Monday, December 8th, the Mounds View Community Meal and World Culture Day is going to be celebrated from 5 to 7 at the Mermaid. And also, just to remind folks, if they are have more toys than their family can bear, to please drop them off at the Ramsey County Sheriff's Toys for Tots, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30 until Thursday, December 18th at 1411 Paul Kirkwood Drive in Arden Hills.
Thank you. Commissioner McMurtry?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Really quick, I want to echo what Commissioner Zhang mentioned about the Hmong New Year celebration. I had a chance to join her on stage with a number of other electeds to present a proclamation on behalf of the county, so it was just a great event to be a part of. And then yesterday I had a chance to co-host a working group around Snelling and University with a number of partners and co-hosted this meeting with Council Member Molly Coleman from Ward 4. And this will just be a reoccurring meeting that we'll be putting together with a number of partners to discuss all of our efforts along Snelling and University, and specifically in the Hamlin Midway neighborhood. So thanks to all those who participated, and looking forward to more work ahead. And then one update for an event that's coming this Friday. The Open Hands Midway is having their Community Night of Light at Bethlehem Bethlehem Lutheran in Midway neighborhood. This is their meal program that runs out of the Bethlehem Lutheran, and so this will be just their annual fundraiser for their food shelf, and just give folks an opportunity to celebrate the community and remember and honor honor loved ones who we've lost over the years. So the tree lighting will begin at 6, and they'll have cookies and hot chocolate and all that. So for folks who are around, please come to this event. Thank you.
Commissioner Miller?
I will be very quick. I have no outside board reports to do, but I do want to note that I did attend the Wild Game for Native American Heritage Night on Friday, and they streamed it in the Ojibwe language on FanDuel, so you can still see clips of that. It was so, as someone who's relearning her language and taking classes, it was really cool to see them stream it in Ojibwe. So shout out to the Wild and Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe and Min for getting that together. And a few events in my district. So North St. Paul is having their holiday hop this weekend on Saturday, December 6th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. You can enjoy trolley rides and free festival activities. And then in Maplewood on December 20th is the Santa Parade. So my family and I will meet Santa at one of the stops in a while they make their route around Maplewood, which is pretty cool. With that, Miu.
I'm just going to focus on one event that I attended, and that would be the Centering Fathers talking session, and presented a Safe Sleep Proclamation. This was hosted by and funded by and supported by Ramsey County Public Health. So I was able to join Centering Fathers for one of their 9 talking sessions focused on supporting dads and infant health. I was able to share a few encouraging words with fathers, emphasizing their role in advocating for healthy pregnancies, the importance of doulas, the safe sleep practices for infants. And so during the event, I also was able to present the Safe Sleep Proclamation, recognizing the work of Centering Fathers and doulas who are educating fathers about infant sleep. And I do want to read just name the work of William Moore, Thomas Chapman, and Charles Dixon, who was leading this with young African-American men. I would like to take some time to read the proclamation because this is so timely, especially with the work that we're doing around the African-American Family Preservation Act, where we want to look at the whole family, but also place children, babies with the fathers, if possible, and having this type of training where they become the messenger of the message around safe sleep. So the proclamation goes, whereas St. Paul, Ramsey County Public Health, and the Birth Equity Community Council promotes infant safe sleep within all families and are working to address racial disparities in infant and maternity mortality. And whereas certain unexpected infant death are a subset of the infant fatalities, I have my earphones in, sorry, and unexpected are a subset of infant fatalities that occur suddenly and unexpectedly before age 1 from causes that are not immediately obvious, and a thorough investigation, including autopsies, is required to determine the cause and the matter of sudden unexpected infant deaths. And whereas approximately 50 otherwise healthy Minnesota babies die of sleep-related unintentional injuries while sleeping in unsafe conditions annually. And whereas sudden unexpected infant death affects families across all races, ethnicities, socioeconomic backgrounds, national origins, religious belief, and are often preventable. And whereas parents, families, child care providers, and hospitals can engage in safe sleep practice by practicing the ABCs of safe sleep, which includes A, being alone, allow babies to sleep alone. Infants should always sleep or nap alone. B, back, always put a baby on their back to sleep or nap. And C, cribs, Babies should always sleep or nap in their own safety-approved crib or bassinet without blankets or pillows to prevent suffocation, strangulation, or entrapment. And whereas no infant should die due to unsafe sleep situation, Infant Safe Sleep Week provides an opportunity then for all to promote and encourage more education on safe sleep practices. Now, therefore, may it be proclaimed that the Ramsey County Board of Commissioners declares November the 16th to the 23rd, 2025 as Infant Safe Sleep Week in Ramsey County. So I just wanted to share that information that we learn, information that we have is information that we share. And so it was really good to show up and to be a part of this event with young African-American men who have taken the time to really participate in this program. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I just have two announcements. It was brought up about the Christmas lighting this Saturday and the European market. And European market is great. I mean, when we first started it, there were 5 vendors. I don't know, we got 100 now. But I think the really important thing is it's a family event, more important than the European market. And that is we have all-day activities for kids in the Grand Concourse. We have movies at night where people camp out. The kids come with their sleeping bags, sit down, and they watch a Christmas movie with their families. There's the train to the North Pole. And so I encourage everybody to, it's all free, to please bring your families. You know, in the beginning, there was very little diversity. It is now becoming more and more diverse. This needs to be a community event. It's for everybody, and very few people. Usually, you could ride the train for free. I don't know if that's true this year to the landmark, but and come early because I usually do the tree lighting, and I was stuck in a traffic jam a couple of years ago. I couldn't get in.
What day is this?
December 7th, next Saturday. Oh, this Saturday coming. So it's really a great time to bring your kids, your families, your babies, bring them in. A lot of carriages, a lot of strollers. The other is the Landmark Center on December 14th from 12 to 2. Again, another free event for families. Santa's workshop, bring your kids so they could participate in activities there and they have arts and crafts and things for the kids to do. Now, after we adjourn this meeting, we have our Housing and Redevelopment Authority. Commissioner Maishan will chair that. Then we have a closed public meeting regarding some legal issues that I will chair. We will then head to the Union Depot during lunchtime for the celebration of the Bronx Line on the east side. And then we come back here for a board workshop that is going to be chaired by Commissioner Moran regarding the Project Bridge. We are adjourned.